Amara Okafor was not the crying type, but if you had seen her that hot Tuesday morning marching through Umuaka village square in a fire-red blouse and tight jeans, clutching an envelope like her life depended on it, you'd know someone had messed up. "Barrister Madhu!" she shouted as she burst into the dusty law chambers beside Eek Market. The old lawyer, glasses perched on his nose, looked up from his crossword puzzle. "Amara, what in heaven's name—" "I want to sue him," she said, slamming the envelope on the table. "Who?" "Chinedu Adiale," she spat the name like bitter leaf. "That goat of a man." Barrister Madhu blinked. "Sue him for what? Did he steal your land?" "Worse, he wasted my time, 7 years of my life gone, and now he dumps me for some little rat from Owerri." The old man rubbed his chin, intrigued. "You mean you want to sue him for heartbreak?" "Yes," Amara's eyes flashed, "for heartbreak, emotional trauma, and damages, and I want the whole village to know." Barrister Madhu burst into laughter, but then stopped when he saw her deadly serious face. This could be interesting. By evening the town crier had done his rounds. Hear ye, a great matter shall be heard at Umuaka Magistrate Court. Amara Okafor versus Chinedu Adiale, case of the broken heart. By the next morning, hashtags like Heartbreak Court and Justice for Amara were trending on Facebook. Mama Nkechi's beer parlor was buzzing. Bets were being placed on whether Amara had any chance at all. Chinedu, meanwhile, was in shock. "She wants to sue me because I don't love her anymore?" His best friend, OK, clapped him on the back, laughing. "My guy, you've just made history." But Barrister Madhu was rubbing his hands with glee. "We're about to set a legal precedent, my dear," he told Amara. "And win or lose, this village will never forget your name." By the time the first court date arrived, Umuaka village was buzzing like a beehive. Amara stepped into the packed courtroom like a Nollywood starlet, her braids swinging and head high. She wore a fitted Ankara gown that said, "I'm not the victim, you are." Chinedu shuffled in moments later, looking like he'd rather sink into the floor. His new girlfriend, Nkeiru, followed close behind, tall, polished, and city sleek. The villagers whispered like chickens spotting fresh corn. Amara took the stand and began her story. 7 long years of loyalty, patience, and sacrifice. She described how she'd loaned Chinedu money to start his big tech dream, which turned out to be selling second-hand phone cases at Alaba. She missed a job offer in Lagos because our future is here, he'd said. "And what about my 25th birthday?" she added, eyes glistening. "He promised marriage. He swore it in front of my parents, my aunties, even my neighbor's goat." The courtroom chuckled. Even Judge Obasi hid a smile. Meanwhile, something strange was happening. Nkeiru kept smiling at Amara, not the smug smile you'd expect from the other woman, but an encouraging, almost sisterly smile. It was weird. Outside, people were going wild. Mama Nkechi's beer parlor launched a heartbreak combo, pepper soup and palm wine for the heartbroken. Auntie Ego was already planning her own lawsuit against her ex from 1998. As the day closed, Chinedu muttered to his lawyer, "This is madness. Love isn't a contract." But Barrister Madhu grinned like a cat with cream. "It might not be," he whispered, "but promises? Those are another matter entirely." The hook deepened when Nkeiru leaned over to Amara as they exited and said softly, "You're braver than you know. Don't trust anyone, not even your friends." Day 2 of the trial was a spectacle. The courtroom was so full that people stood on benches, craning their necks. Mama Nkechi arrived early to sell groundnuts and suya at the door, muttering, "This is better than Big Brother Niger." Barrister Kanayo, Chinedu's high-flying lawyer from Owerri, strutted in wearing a suit so shiny it could blind a man at 50 paces. He eyed Barrister Madu with a smirk. "This case is a joke," he declared loudly. "Emotional trauma, please? If we sued every man for heartbreak, half of Nigeria would be in jail." Judge Obasi tapped his gavel. "Proceed, Barrister Kanayo." The defense painted Amara as an overly ambitious girlfriend who mistook casual affection for commitment. "My client never signed a marriage contract. He was free to end things, just as she was free to leave if unhappy." Chinedu sat smugly, occasionally nodding like a lizard in the sun. But things took a turn when Barrister Kanayo called Ifunanya to the stand, Amara's best friend. Ifunanya looked nervous as she sat down. Under the piercing questions, her composure started to crack. "Isn't it true," Kanayo asked smoothly, "that you knew about Chinedu's other girlfriend?" Ifunanya's eyes darted around. I didn't want to interfere." "And isn't it also true," Kanayo pressed, "that Chinedu once proposed to you?" Gasps filled the room. Amara's jaw dropped. "Is that true?" she whispered. Ifunanya burst into tears. "It was a mistake. I didn't mean. He was drunk. I swear." The courtroom erupted. Judge Obasi banged his gavel furiously. "Order! Order in the court!" Outside, villagers started taking sides, or Team Amara versus, or Team Chinedu versus on Team Ifunanya. Auntie Ego was already drafting her own lawsuit with inspiration. Amara sat frozen, heart racing. Her case had just gotten very messy. And Nkeiru? She just sat back, watching everything unfold, her eyes gleaming like someone with a secret. Amara came back swinging. The next court date, she stepped in with a brand new folder labeled Evidence the Truth. Mama Nkechi's pepper soup stand was doing record sales as villagers buzzed about Amara's secret weapons. Barrister Madu began with a dramatic flourish. "Your Honor, we bring proof, undeniable proof, that this relationship was not just love talk, but a partnership of promises and investments." First came the WhatsApp chats. Chinedu, "Baby, please borrow me that 150,000. I'll pay back once the business blows." Amara, "Okay, love, but don't forget your promise." Chinedu, "I swear by God and my ancestors, I'm yours forever." The courtroom hummed with oohs and ahs. Next came receipts. Thousands spent on Chinedu's shop, equipment, even the infamous DJ turntables he used for his side hustle. Then the bombshell. Amara held up a crumpled letter. "He wrote this on my birthday." She handed it to Judge Obasi. The judge read aloud, "To my dearest Amara, I promise by God and my ancestors to marry you soonest. You are my everything." Signed, Chinedu Adiale. Barrister Kanayo leapt up. "Objection, that's love talk, not a legal agreement." But Barrister Madu grinned. "Ah, but in Igbo tradition, words are bonds. And here we have written and signed promises. Is love not binding when formalized in writing?" The judge looked thoughtful, stroking his beard. Meanwhile, Nkeiru was back at her odd games, showing up at Amara's house unexpectedly, offering pastries and saying strange things like, "The truth always comes out eventually." Amara was suspicious. What exactly was Nkeiru playing at? And why, every time she visited, did it feel like Nkeiru was snooping? Amara's world tilted further when Ifunanya took the stand again. This time, Barrister Madhu wasn't gentle. Did you, or did you not, know that Chinedu had another girlfriend? Ifunanya sniffled. I suspected, but he told me it was nothing serious. And did Chinedu ever propose to you? Dead silence. The whole village held its breath. Tears welled in Ifunanya's eyes. It was one night at the New Yam Festival. He was drunk. He said if Amara didn't marry him, I should, but I thought it was a joke. Amara's heart cracked again, her best friend, her confidant. The crowd gasped so loudly the judge nearly fell off his chair. Mama Nkechi dropped her tray of suya. Amara stood there, fists clenched, voice shaking. You should have told me. I didn't want to hurt you, Ifunanya whispered. Barrister Kanayo jumped in gleefully. So you see, Your Honor, this whole case is built on shaky ground. Even the friend knew Chinedu wasn't serious. It was a disaster, until Nkeiru leaned forward, whispering into Amara's ear, Don't give up. There's more to this than you think. Trust me. Amara stared at her, confused and wary. Nkeiru's eyes sparkled with something between mischief and determination. What game was this woman playing? 2 days later, disaster struck. Amara and Barrister Madhu arrived in court ready to drop their biggest bomb yet. A signed document showing that Chinedu promised her part ownership of a land plot they had viewed together. A clear sign of long-term commitment. But when Barrister Madhu reached into his case file, his face went pale. It's gone. What do you mean it's gone? Amara whispered, panic rising. The file, it's missing. Barrister Kanayo smirked like a cat who'd just eaten a canary. Having trouble, old man? The judge frowned. Do you have the evidence or not? Barrister Madhu, looking rattled for the first time, stammered. We will retrieve it by next sitting, Your Honor. Amara stormed out, her blood boiling. Somebody stole it, she cried. That file didn't just walk away. Meanwhile, Nkeiru was spotted outside the courtroom, talking in hushed tones on the phone. Yes, she said, glancing around. Phase 1 is complete. Mama Nkechi, eavesdropping as always, rushed to spread the news. That city girl is up to something, ooh. And to top it all off, villagers noticed Barrister Madhu that evening, sitting quietly at Mama Nkechi's bar, staring into his drink like a man deep in thought or deep in trouble. The mystery deepened, and Amara could feel it in her bones. Someone was playing a bigger game than she realized. But who? Just when Amara thought things couldn't get worse, Chinedu pulled his most shocking move yet. The morning of the next court session, Barrister Madhu rushed into Amara's compound, waving a fresh court document. He's countersuing, he shouted. For what? Amara grabbed the papers, her eyes flying across the page. For defamation, Madhu replied grimly. He claims your case and all the gossip has ruined his personal brand. Amara blinked. His what? His personal brand, Madhu repeated, barely hiding a smirk. Apparently, his Instagram followers have dropped from 1,023 to 960. Amara let out a laugh despite herself. This man is mad. But it wasn't a joke. Chinedu was demanding 5 million naira in damages. The courtroom was electric that day. Chinedu sat upright, all swagger, as his lawyer painted him as the true victim. Heartbreak is not a crime, Kanayo thundered, but turning heartbreak into public humiliation, that, Your Honor, is defamation of character. Just as things reached fever pitch, Amara suddenly felt dizzy, her vision blurred, and before anyone could react, she fainted right there in court. Gasps and shouts filled the room. "She's pregnant!" someone screamed. Mama Nkechi, not missing a beat, declared, "If she's carrying Chinedu's child, this case just got 10 times hotter." But in the hospital later, Amara rolled her eyes. Pregnant? Biko, it's stress and hunger. Still, the rumors refused to die. And Nkeiru? She appeared at the hospital with fresh fruit and that same mysterious smile. As she left, Amara noticed something fall from her bag, a folder labeled Project Justice. Amara picked it up, eyes narrowing. What in heaven's name is this girl up to? Court resumed with bated breath. Mama Nkechi had brought extra pepper soup. She knew something big was coming. And she was right. Nkeiru, dressed in sharp heels and a blazer, marched to the stand. Barrister Madhu looked at her in surprise. Miss Nkeiru, what are you doing?" She smiled, testifying. Judge Obasi allowed it, curiosity clearly winning. "My name is Nkeiru Ibe," she began smoothly, "but I'm not just Chinedu's girlfriend. I'm an investigative journalist working undercover." The courtroom gasped as one. Even Mama Nkechi dropped her tray this time. "I've been working on a documentary," Nkeiru continued, "about modern love scams in Nigeria. When I met Chinedu, I discovered he had a pattern: dating women long-term, borrowing money, making false promises, and moving on when he drained them." She produced a USB. "I have recordings of Chinedu admitting he used Amara for financial gain." Chinedu leapt to his feet. "Lies! She's crazy!" Judge Obasi waved him down. "Let's listen." The recording crackled to life Chinedu's voice. "That girl dey try Shah, but I can't marry her. I just needed her cash to set up my business. Love no dey put food for table." The crowd exploded. Mama Nkechi nearly choked on her own pepper soup. Barrister Kanayo slumped in his chair, defeated. Nkeiru turned to Amara, eyes softening. "I'm sorry I had to keep it secret, but you deserved the truth and justice." BBC Igbo reporters swarmed the courtroom as news broke. Viral heartbreak case uncovers love scam ring. Amara sat in stunned silence, tears sliding down her face, relief, vindication. But just as she was about to exhale, Nkeiru whispered again, "Amara, before you celebrate, there's something else you need to know." The courtroom was tense. Reporters had set up cameras. Even a Nollywood producer was spotted scribbling notes furiously at the back. Judge Obasi took a long breath. "In all my years on the bench, I've never seen a case like this." He turned to Chinedu. "You, young man, are the reason trust is dying in relationships. This court finds in favor of the plaintiff, Amara Okafor." Amara gasped. The courtroom erupted in cheers and applause. Chinedu slumped in his chair, head in his hands. "You are hereby ordered to pay 3 million naira in damages for emotional and financial loss," Judge Obasi declared. "This will serve as a warning to others who treat promises lightly." Mama Nkechi jumped up, fist pumping the air. "Justice, finally!" she shouted, announcing free drinks all evening, except for Chinedu. Amara was flooded with hugs, backslaps, and 100 marriage proposals from random admirers. Barrister Madhu adjusted his glasses proudly. "We made history, my dear." But Nkeiru's words haunted Amara. Later that night, in the quiet of her room, she found Nkeiru waiting outside. "You said there was something else," Amara whispered. Nkeiru nodded, her face serious. Yes, one last piece of the puzzle, the reason this case was even bigger than you thought. Amara's heart raced. What is it? Nkeiru leaned in close, her eyes glinting in the moonlight. It's about your lawyer, Barrister Madhu. You deserve to know the truth. Amara's heart thudded as she and Nkeiru sat under the mango tree in her compound, the moon casting long shadows. What about Barrister Madhu? Amara whispered. He's the one person I fully trusted. Nkeiru exhaled slowly. That's the twist. I started digging during my investigation, and guess what I found? Years ago, Chinedu's father, Chief Adiale, cheated Madhu's family out of their ancestral land. It was a bitter case. Madhu's family lost everything. Amara's eyes widened. Wait, you're saying... Yes, Nkeiru nodded. Helping you? It wasn't just about justice for you, it was also Madhu's revenge. He saw a chance to hit back at the Adiale family, and he took it. Amara's head spun. But the missing file? Nkeiru smiled slyly. Oh, that was Madhu too. He hid the file temporarily. Why? To make the case more dramatic, to draw in the media. He wanted this to be big, huge, not just for you, but to shame Chinedu's entire family publicly. Amara sank back against the tree, processing everything. So, I was part of his revenge plot. Nkeiru placed a hand on her shoulder. Yes, but let's be honest. You wanted justice, and you got it. In fact, your case will now be studied across Nigeria. You've made history. Amara couldn't help but laugh softly, shaking her head. This village, an drama-full ground. They sat in silence for a moment until Amara stood up, a new fire in her eyes. You know what? Let them plot, let them scheme. I'm done crying. I'm starting something new. Nkeiru raised a brow. Like what? A foundation, Amara grinned, to help women fight back legally when they're wronged. And Mama Nkechi is dying to turn her Heartbreak kitchen into a reality TV show. Both women burst out laughing, the tension finally breaking. As they parted ways, Amara looked up at the sky, a smile on her lips. In this life, heartbreak is inevitable, but when you fight back, and sometimes the heartbreak turns into your biggest breakthrough. And just like that, the girl who once sued for heartbreak became the woman who changed everything. Don't just cry over spilled promises. Sue the silence. Indict the betrayal, and let the heartbreak pay interest, because sometimes the best closure isn't a door that gently shuts, it's a courtroom door that slams behind your dignity, fully restored. Thank you for watching, and please comment, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more captivating stories.